So bro, I've been freaking out on what's happening right now in politics, in geopolitics, in social politics, and the history behind it, connected to it. All of this was happening again and again in just a new form. You know, the biggest contributor and the initiator of all of this, whatever you call it, whatever you say to me, it was Hegel and Marx. They are the biggest contributors and initiators of political events right now, and what's happening in politics right now. That in modern politics, that Hegel talked about dialectics, the thesis and antithesis, the different forces of the society fighting, colliding with each other, and doing a synthesis into a new idea of those positive and negative ideas being collided with each other, that is inevitable in society and resulting in a new things or new ideas. And Marx took this into a new level, in class struggle, social classes. In thesis and antithesis, we have the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. They fight with each other on who takes the power of the society, who takes the resources of the society. They fight with each other, they collide, and they form a classlessness. No proletariat, no bourgeoisie, or no class society. In practice, capitalism as what Marx described it, a self-destructive type of system. Because of capitalism's inevitable crisis, people and worker will organize, will revolt against the bourgeoisie, and those people and the workers are the proletariats, and these two clash, leading for those people, those proletariat clashing with the bourgeoisie, leading to that bourgeoisie will be flown away, will be revolted, will be overthrown, and making those people, those workers, those proletariat take the society, and that's socialism right there. And negation until we reach communism. And in today's society, in today's context, that pretty much looked a utopia, because in China, Laos, USSR, whatever you call it, Vietnam, DPRK, they're stuck on the stage of socialism. And you know what? Because of imperialism, this was Lenin. The next is Lenin, Marx and Engels, and then Lenin. The critic of imperialism. Why we can't reach communism, why these socialist countries can't reach communism, is because imperialism, the imperial power, of the United States, those ones who fight the government or a system held by the proletariat. And this leads me to a thinking, if these two, on the Marx dialectics process, if these two collide, the proletariat and the bourgeoisie collide, the proletariat took power, another dialectic will happening. The bourgeoisie will revolt. And what do you call that? The bourgeoisie will revolt, will try to overthrow that socialist government held by the proletariat, as what I've said earlier. What will happen is that bourgeoisie will try to take over and overthrow that people and proletariat took over society or controlled society, which is socialist society. And that leads us to imperialism. That leads us to fascism. Bourgeois revolution. That's fascism right there. And the bourgeoisie, the imperial power of the bourgeoisie, its intelligence, its whatever you call it, its spies will try to take over and overthrow the socialist government or socialist state. And that's what's pretty much happening in Lenin's era. The USA, the capitalist powers, the capitalist European powers is trying to hinder Lenin from expanding socialism, expanding Russia's idea, Soviet's idea into Germany, and into Germany and Poland, into Europe, expanding west. And this lead me thinking that Hitler was a bourgeois revolutionary and Stalin was a socialist revolutionary, fulfilling all of those Lenin, Marx, Hegel, and even Hegel's theories. All of this, all of that since then, it started chaos. Cold War, Vietnam War, and the postmodernism. That's the most chaotic thing that we are facing today, and until we reach today, the digital age. You know, the bourgeois is taking power again, as same as what's happening in Europe, 1900s to 19 to post 1920s to pre 1930s. And this leads me thinking that we are on the second stage of all of this chaos. In parliamentary politics today, we are having a peace. Yeah, we are having a progress. We are having a parliamentary politics that armed struggle is not working. All of these things will be happening legally, parliamentarily, starting the end of that Cold War until today. And you know what's interesting? The same thing as what's happening right now, um, pre 1990s until now, happened even back then. You know, 1890s up until 1929s and pre 1930s, they were all parliamentary, and armed struggles, worker revolutions is not effective on those times. Even in 1890s, Russian workers were planning to revolt. We're starting a movement of revolution. It's not working up until Lenin took power in 1920s. And let's put into context. In Asia, today's major communist power is China, right? And in the world itself, today's major communist power is China. Let's put it in the context. Back on those days, 1900s to pre-1930s, the major power was, of course, Lenin and Stalin's Russia, the Soviet Union. That's the major communist power. Yeah, it is all a reaction, a chain reaction. Just different, just in different way, just in different preface, just in different phase, in different country, in different society. All of this was just a chain reaction, and this leads me to thinking that, yeah, back on what I am saying, those days, 1890s to pre 1930s, all of them was parliamentary. But after 1930s, things were going in chaos. That due to France Versailles Agreement, it pretty much oppressed Germans, and it took Adolf Hitler to revolt against this French progressive power, and all of this, Mussolini, Hitler, saw negative things about communism, saw stigma about communism. Yeah, they saw the negative side of communism. They didn't study communism, they didn't study its vision, but all of what they saw is negative things, and that led them to revolt against it. Oh, it's our property. Why you're taking it? It's our hard work. It's our we don't care. We don't care of you. Our race is much more better than you. Your ideas are corrupted. So yeah, all of these are corrupted. And that the same thing is happening is happening today. The right is taking the revolution, as well as what's happening back then. The communism is stigmatized, socialism is stigmatized again, and pretty much what Hitler and Mussolini think. All of these people who stigmatize communism is what's happening today. And you know what? This leads me thinking to, yeah, post 1930s, there was chaos. World War II is starting to happen. The same thing I think the same thing will happen in I think 2030s or pre 2030s. The same thing will happen again. It's a chain reaction, as we can see, the Russia-Iran conflict, the China and US tensions. What I'm thinking about right now is all of this chaos will start in US and China. In World War II, yeah, the capitalists, the communists have allied. In Cold War, all of that end. And you know what? Today, what I'm thinking is, yeah, the Axis powers and the allied powers. The allied powers will be like Russia, something like Russia, Iran, and China, and the Axis will be USA, all of the West powers, West and East. You know, And yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm freaking out right now, bro. Damn. ChatGPT won't let me talk. Grok AI won't let me talk. Okay, I'll make a video about it. I'll make a 10-minute video about it. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. It's all of the chain reaction. What happening today is the history paved its way on happening it right now. So yeah, that's it.